You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
The yeas are 50. The nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided. The Vice President votes in the affirmative. And the concurrent resolution as amended is adopted.
With that, the COVID relief bill moves forward. Vice President Kamala Harris broke that tie early this morning after Republicans offered nearly 800 amendments trying to slow this process down. This particular bill, of course, would grant the relief necessary to a variety of Americans. But what it also did not do, it did not advance a federal minimum wage increase to $15 an hour. Let's talk about this with our panel. Rob Richardson hosts Disruption Now podcast. Amisha Cross, political analyst and Democratic strategist, and Michael Inhotep hosts the African History Network show. Amisha, this is the first tie that Vice President Kamala Harris has broken. Democrats held firm their 50 votes. All Republicans voted against this. And at the end of the day, this is real simple. If you're Democrats, you can make the argument now, as a result of this bill, that Republicans didn't give a damn about the people impacted by COVID. It was Democrats who are concerned about their economic well-being. So anytime the folks like folks like Congressman Jim Jordan try to say that, oh, we're about the, the blue collar, the working class folks, not if you voted against this particular bill.
You're absolutely right, Roland. And Democrats can, will, and should do exactly that. And I think we're going to see it because there was absolutely no reason for Republicans to vote against this bill. This is a bill that would advance those $1,200 checks that people need so desperately across America. This is a bill that would extend unemployment benefits, which expire in March. This is a bill that provides funding to states and localities to be able to advance what we've seen in terms of the expansion of how many people can get vaccines and the allocations therein. And it just seems crazy to me that Republicans have gone and continue to try to obstruct and obstruct and obstruct some more, while the American people are literally begging. More and more people are losing their jobs every day. There's people who can't feed their children. And this is just a very hard time for the American public. But I will say this, in terms of Vice President Kamala Harris, this is the best first vote that she could have cast, because this tie-breaking vote here makes a huge difference, because for her, she will always be able to go back and say she fought for the American people, and she fought for the American people when Republicans would not. And I think that that's something that she can hang her hat on. And to your point, once more, at the end of the day, Democrats from now throughout the midterms and beyond are going to continue telling Americans exactly what they did. They fought for you when the Republicans wouldn't. And Republicans are going to have to come up with an answer to why they could not and why they would not.
Republicans want to cut the size of this COVID bill. This is President Joe Biden speaking to reporters before he left to go home to Wilmington, Delaware.
Thank you for your patience. We had a very good but long meeting with the chairpersons of the House of Representatives in the Oval, and it went a little longer, but it went very well. Thank you all for being here. I'm accompanied by the Vice President and the Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, and I want to talk today about our plan. And the January job numbers came out today. And while we're grateful for everyone who found work and is earning a paycheck, it's very clear our economy is still in trouble. We added just 6,000 private sector jobs in the country last month. Overall, we added 49,000 jobs. And this at a time when we have more than 10 million people out of work. 4 million people have been out of work for 6 months or longer. And 2.5 million women have been driven from the workforce. 15 million Americans are behind in the rental payments. 24 million adults and 12 million children literally don't have enough food to eat. These aren't Democrats or Republicans, they're Americans. And they're suffering. They're suffering not because of anything they did. Through no fault of their own, they're suffering. Once-in-a-century virus has decimated our economy, and it's still wreaking havoc on our economy today. And so much of it is still about the virus. We're still in the teeth of this pandemic. In fact, January was the single deadliest month of the whole pandemic. We lost nearly 100,000 lives. I know some in Congress think we've already done enough to deal with the crisis in the country. Others think that things are getting better and we can afford to sit back and either do little or do nothing at all. That's not what I see. I see enormous pain in this country. A lot of folks out of work, a lot of folks going hungry, staring at the ceiling tonight wondering, what am I going to do tomorrow? A lot of folks trying to figure out how to keep their jobs and take care of their children. A lot of folks reaching the breaking point. Suicides are up, mental health needs are increasing, violence against women and children is increasing. A lot of folks are losing hope. And I believe the American people are looking right now to their government for help, to do our job, to not let them down. So I'm going to act, and I'm going to act fast. I'd like to be doing it with the support of Republicans. I've met with Republicans. There's some really fine people who want to get something done, but they're just not willing to go as far as I think we have to go. I've told both Republicans and Democrats that's my preference, to work together. But if I have to choose between getting help right now to Americans who are hurting so badly and getting bogged down in a lengthy negotiation, or compromising on a bill that's up to the crisis, that's an easy choice. I'm going to help the American people who are hurting now. That's why I'm so grateful to the House and the Senate for moving so fast on the American Rescue Plan. Here's what's in that plan. First, it puts $160 billion into our national COVID-19 strategy, which includes more money for manufacturing, distribution, and setting up of vaccine sites, everything that's needed to get the vaccines into people's arms. There's simply nothing more important than us getting the resources we need to vaccinate the people in this country as soon, as quickly as possible. So job number one of the American Rescue Plan is vaccines. Vaccines. The second, the American Rescue Plan is going to keep the commitment of $2,000. $600 has already gone out. $1,400 checks to people who need it. This is money directly in people's pockets. They need it. We need to target that money, so folks making $300,000 don't get any windfall. But if you're a family that's a wage earner, each of the parents, one making 30 grand, one making 40 or 50, maybe that's a little more than, well, yeah, they need the money, and they're going to get it. And here's what I won't do. I'm not cutting the size of the checks. They're going to be $1,400, period. That's what the American people were promised. Very quickly, here's the rest of my plan. It has money for food and nutrition.
First of all, you lays it all out here, Rob. Here's the thing that's important here. Again, Republicans want to make the point that, oh, Trump was populist, he cared about the people. If Democrats consistently say, just like right there, was saying, no, we're not going to provide stimulus checks to folks making $300,000. I guarantee you that's going to poll well. That has to be, if Democrats are smart, that has to be their position consistently when it comes to who's not going to get tax breaks, who's not going to get help. That's what you do. And so they can completely destroy any argument Republicans make by saying, oh, Democrats, they're destroying the economy. And here's the piece. Larry Summers, he wrote some article saying, oh, that Biden's plan could be too big. It's real simple. $1.9 billion COVID relief plan, repeal the Trump tax cuts, that's $1.1 billion. Yo, it's paid for.
Yeah, I mean, call it a day. Look, it's nice to hear a president talk in a normal way where it's not a bunch of drama. So I just want to say that. And I acknowledge the fact that he said, yes, he'd like there to be Republican support. We would all like that to happen. But it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. They're not going to do it on any bill, so they should get used to this. Every single bill of any substance is going to require 51 votes is going to require Vice President Harris to break that vote. And Democrats need to come from that mindset and frame, and just like you said, Roland, they need to frame not only who they're helping and who they're not, but who the Republicans aren't helping. They don't want to help you. They are trying to hurt you. They are hurting the economy. They're not working with you, and they don't want to work for you. They just want to take our country back because that's all they care about is power. And so we got to make sure we're proactive in that message and not wait and expect Republicans to come along. Like we do have to make the attempt, but we don't have to wait on them. And I know we got Joe Manchin, one person who wants to convince Republicans. I know he's in a Republican state, but look, while you're there, get some stuff done for people and hope that they reelect you. Otherwise, nothing else matters because they are not going to work with you. No matter what you do, they're going to find a way to work against you. We know who they are.
The thing here, Michael, is the Republican governor of West Virginia was begging for the money. Well, he used to be a Democrat, then he flipped to Republican when Trump was there. Don't be shocked if he flips back to Democrat while Biden is there. And so he made the point they needed the money. Because Republicans did not like this particular bill because they felt that it was too much money for local and state governments, for them bailing them out when they really only wanted to target those blue cities, those blue states. Again, if Democrats are smart, every move you make is all about how you are helping those who make less than $200,000 or $300,000 a year. If you are a family out there and you're making 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 grand, trust me, you don't give a damn about somebody making five times as much money as you, who all of a sudden it says, well, what about us? Trust me, if you're making combined 300 grand a year, you're doing fine compared to most Americans.
Yeah, for the most part, that's true, Roland. And it's interesting you mentioned some of the governors because you're going to have a lot. I think you're going to have a lot of Republican governors. They have a lot of poor white people in their states who need this money. And the other thing is blue-leaning states or Democratic states contribute more each year to the federal taxpayer pot than red states, than Republican states. And this is something that Governor Cuomo of New York pointed out a few months ago to Moscow Mitch McConnell, who's in a very poor state, Kentucky, Mitch McConnell. So I think what they're doing is a really good strategy to push this. I think you may have, like in the House, you may have a handful, maybe some of those 11 Republicans that voted to strip Marjorie Taylor Greene of her committee assignments. You may have a handful of that, but we can't wait. And it's extremely important for them to connect these policies to the economy and to the economic conditions of individuals. The reason why is because 2022 midterm elections are right around the corner. And as theguardian.com pointed out, and I've dealt with on my show and you've dealt with on your show, Republicans in state legislatures across the country have introduced 106 bills to make it harder to vote, especially for African Americans and Latinos, et cetera. So we have to make a clear connection between these policies in Washington, D.C. and the economic conditions down on Main Street.
And again, hopefully you will have an administration that actually says, let's put the money where there is most in need. Every single night, we've got some of the top black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Cedrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardy, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Hebert, Patel Salt, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Benja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward. Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris. Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York. William Springs, AFL-CIO economist. Andrea James, Executive Director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division Strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and Wellness Specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, President of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with The Root. Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malvo, economist, president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon McDougall, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi. Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.